"You're a disgrace," my dad yelled as I was kicked out of my own home. 15 years later, my cousin's lie unraveled, but it was too late. "You're a disgrace." That's what my father screamed at me the night he threw me out of my own home. I was 19 years old, a sophomore in college, a kid who still asked his mom what was for dinner, and in less than 10 minutes, my entire life collapsed because of one lie. 15 years later, a single DNA test exposed the truth, but by then, I was no longer the boy they abandoned. If you've ever been blamed for something you didn't do, if you've ever watched someone destroy your reputation while everyone believed them, then this story is going to hit hard. Make sure you like the video, subscribe for more emotionally charged revenge stories, and settle in, because this one isn't just about payback, it's about what happens when the truth takes 15 years to surface. I still remember the smell of lemon cleaner in the kitchen that night. My cousin Chloe was sitting at the table, pale but composed. My aunt stood behind her like a bodyguard. My parents looked like they had already decided the verdict. "Nathaniel," my father said, voice shaking with rage. "Chloe says you're the father." The words didn't even register at first. The father of what? "Don't play stupid," Chloe snapped. Her voice cracked just enough to sound convincing. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." She was pregnant, and she was saying it was mine. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was absurd. I started, but my father slammed his fist on the table. "Enough!" My mother wouldn't look at me, her hands trembled around a glass of water. Chloe started crying, and that was it. That's all it took. No test, no evidence, no questions, just tears. "You're a disgrace," my dad growled. "You're not raising that child under my roof." "I didn't do this." My voice cracked. My chest felt like it was being crushed from the inside. "Get your things," he said. And just like that, I wasn't their son anymore. I left with a duffel bag and $200 in my checking account. My phone buzzed nonstop for 2 days. Friends asking if it was true, people from church whispering, professors emailing about my sudden withdrawal from school. I stopped answering. The worst part wasn't losing the house, it was losing my name. Overnight, I became that guy. The one who got his cousin pregnant. You could see it in people's eyes. That mix of disgust and curiosity. I dropped out. I moved 3 towns over. Started working construction. The first winter, I slept in my truck twice because I couldn't afford rent after my hours got cut. Every time my hands bled from hauling lumber, I'd think, she's at home, warm, supported, believed, and the bitterness grew roots. From a distance, I watched her life bloom. Family Facebook posts showed baby showers, graduation photos, a wedding 5 years later to some accountant named Daniel. My parents were in every picture, smiling, holding the child they believed was mine. Max. That name burned. They paid for her college. They helped her buy a house. Meanwhile, I was eating ramen in a studio apartment with cracked windows. It wasn't just that she lied, it was that she prospered from it. Year 7 on construction sites, I stopped being angry. Not because I forgave her, because I was tired. Anger's heavy. It drags behind you like chains. So I worked. Harder than anyone else. I learned everything. Permits, budgeting, subcontractor management. I volunteered for the worst jobs. Showed up first, left last. At 29, I started my own construction company with a borrowed $10,000 and a used pickup. I failed twice, then I didn't. By 34, Hayes Structural Solutions had contracts with commercial developers. By 35, I employed 18 people. I didn't need my family, but that didn't mean it didn't hurt. 15 years after that night, I got a call. My mother's name lit up my screen. I almost didn't answer. Her voice was small, fragile. "Nathaniel, we made a mistake." My stomach went cold. Apparently, Chloe's husband had grown suspicious. Max didn't resemble him. Arguments escalated. He demanded a DNA test, not just for himself. For me, the results came back. 0% match. Max wasn't mine. He wasn't Daniel's either. Chloe had been seeing someone else. That's a married coworker who left town shortly after she got pregnant. The lie had spiraled too far. She'd panicked. And I was the easiest scapegoat. 15 years, gone. My father got on the phone next. "We're sorry," he said. Sorry. That word felt microscopic compared to what they'd taken. 3 months later, my father passed away from a stroke. In his will, he left me $2.3 million, more than he left anyone else. A final attempt at balancing scales. My siblings called it guilt money. They weren't wrong. But money doesn't restore 15 years of reputation, or lost education, or sleepless nights wondering if you're fundamentally unlovable. Then my lawyer asked a simple question. Have you considered suing? Defamation, emotional distress, damages. At first I didn't want to reopen it. Then I remembered sleeping in my truck. I remembered being spat at outside a grocery store. I remembered my father's voice. You're a disgrace. And something inside me hardened. Yes, I said. Let's do it. The courtroom smelled like old wood and paper. Chloe avoided eye contact. She looked smaller, not the confident woman from Facebook photos, just tired. Her lawyer tried to argue emotional instability, youth, fear, but fear doesn't justify destroying someone's life. When I took the stand, my palms were sweating. My voice wasn't. I lost my education, my family, my reputation. For 15 years, I carried a lie I didn't create. Silence. The jury watched her. She cried again. It didn't work this time. The DNA results were undeniable. The timeline exposed contradictions. Former coworkers testified about her affair. The verdict? Defamation proven. $1.5 million in damages and a court-ordered public apology. The apology had to be published in the local paper and posted publicly online. I read it 3 times. I falsely accused Nathaniel Hayes of fathering my child. He was not responsible, and my actions caused irreparable harm. Irreparable, even she admitted it. When we passed each other outside the courthouse, she finally looked at me. I was scared, she whispered. I held her gaze. I was 19. That was all I said, and for the first time in 15 years, I felt light. Not triumphant, not vindictive, validated. The truth had a weight to it, and it finally shifted back where it belonged. Justice doesn't give you your past back. It doesn't rewind birthdays missed or reputations destroyed. But it restores something quieter. Your name, your truth, your dignity. And sometimes, that's enough to start healing. If this story gave you chills, if you felt that slow burn of injustice finally turning into validation, hit that like button. Tell us in the comments, could you forgive after 15 years? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where karma might take its time, but it never forgets.